We're going to go over label printing for the Cage. These are what the designs will look like, and there's a few things to go over here. So complexity on the programming is that we have to use a left justification when telling the system where to go because we're not using a full-size roll. In doing so, it's how do we get everything to line up to the center. And one thing we haven't been able to do is get this barcode will not line up to the center. It's always going to print from the left over. So I picked out 3 different types of companies and parts because it's not just justifying it from the center. The algorithms that are involved now have to do with what is the total size of the name. You know, is it shorter than the character length we can fit on this label stock? Is it going to have to go into 2 rows? Then if it does go into 2 rows, what's going on with that? How do we line that up? So, you know, started Friday, I don't know, about 1 o'clock. It's now Saturday after 4 o'clock. Been at this for some 15 hours to get the designs down. It looks like they're all down. I got a test job in the system ready to go with the iPad. And we're going to see how it all works. So I decided not to go to the QA right now, go back to the Cage and work on getting these labels print out, right? Because there's a lot of things we got to answer. One was just the design, getting the design to print correctly, and then it was what kind of stock do we use? So we talked about the 3-inch stock that's standard to this Star printer. Where we were coming up there is that, look, what I couldn't do, what I found out real quickly I couldn't do, is I can't take the orientation of this design and flip it sideways. So rotating it, I've not been able to get that code to work. So lost a few hours there. That code just wouldn't work. So I needed to do it in a way that I don't have to use 3-inch stock. So I moved to this 2 1/4 regular thermal paper. So most of the tests were done on that all day. And yesterday on just regular 2 1/4. So the design was at, you know, what can I do with 2 1/4, and that's what these paper ones are here. They're the 2 1/4 stock. So that's more indicative of what you're using already at Greystone, like that. Then it was, well, we still are going to have to print it on sticky paper, and that's what these are. These are the label stocks. Just to show you here. So that's label stock. It's sticky, right? So I already peeled one off and stuck it on a piece of paper. No good reason. But the issue there was that I don't really have any label stock. I was trying to order some, and that wasn't working out too well. So I took this this Brother label stock that I pre-ordered to go with the Brother printer that was supposed to come in, and now they've decided they're not going to send it at all, so they've refunded my money, whatever. This stock is 2.4 inches. So this is the stuff you're using already at Greystone in the printer that you have. So that's 2.4 inches. This is 2.25 inches. They're not too far from each other. Just a little bit of a size difference there, not a lot. But I wanted to see what would happen. So I've got a regular Star thermal printer, and I'm going to put this this stock in there. What I did was I took a core out of one of these smaller rolls. I just popped the core out of there, and I backfed the Brother stock onto it because this stock feeds this way, but the printer prints on this side, so it needs it to feed that way. You can't fit this whole mechanism inside of there. So what I had to do was reverse feed this onto some type of core to then fit it into the machine. Now, once I put it in the machine, it did, with that plastic spacer we showed in the other video, that was a perfect lineup to that size. So when I put it in the second slot, the label stock sits in there and it holds nice and firm, and that's kind of what the machine's looking for. Now you'll see I still get the error light blinking. It doesn't seem to be doing anything with this. So I'm just leaving it for now. Again, this is not the sticky label version of the printer, but I wanted to see, you know, how far can we push it, what would come up with it. You know, kind of testing all variables. It's nice to see. I've been doing it for a little over an hour now. I did a bunch of tests before even starting this video, and it just keeps printing. So I really like that. It's nice to see, like, if we have an issue with one that we bought that was a sticky label version at a location at Greystone, and let's say that something goes wrong with that printer and it's out, we can't take any other printer we have and put it in there to suffice while that situation gets figured out, whether it's get another printer or fix it or whatever. Or print to another device. If you're at the Cage and the next nearest printer, and that's a sticky label printer, and the next nearest printer is over at Blast or over at Rack, and they don't use their printer a lot, we could quickly divert the label printing over to there. Of course, we'd have to change the stock size out, so that's an issue. But, some things to think about. We like versatility, right? We want to have some options. If something happens, what are our options? How do we keep moving forward? Maybe we keep one of these in stock as a spare, just in case something happens. What we do is just keep a regular thermal one in stock, and that way, you could put it in both locations if something were to happen. So that's where we are with that. Now, in printing the barcode and trying to get it to center, what you'll notice, if you look at this barcode, is that the barcoding is not equal to the numbers down here. So it has these extra spaces, and that's because I left some code in there where I was trying to add some blank void spaces to push this over, right? Because the barcode is always within a certain range. It's smaller than the width of the printing. It just won't work. It keeps taking the spaces and adding them as actual barcode data. So this barcode is not actually equal to this number. It's equal to this number plus blank spaces. So this is no good. That's a fail. We're not going to do that one. So I've already taken the code out for this test. Want it to go back to normal where it's not doing that push off. And see what we get. All the algorithms are in for each and every line on one of these. So it's taking into account, how many text spaces we've got to work with, how many are in the total of a name, how many are in the total of a part, how many can we use on a line, how many can we use on the next line, what do we do to get them to justify out. The profit key job number, easiest one, it's always the same, it's always 6 characters, we've got 16 character space, it's real simple, keep that one centered out. So that's where we are with that. So let's run our first test real quick here. No need to get too tricky with it. So we're going to go to the iPad, just like they would be using at the Cage. I'm going to log in. Alright, so I already set up the test job, ready to palletize, so I'm going to receiving, palletize, and I just want to select that job. And as I keep doing these tests, I put in a quantity of 400, so I'm always doing, 40 in a box. And I'm always telling it my choices are that, I need 10 boxes. Just makes it faster. Go through, build all the data, build all the barcodes, fact check the data, come back with our queue of 10 travelers. And now on my traveler choices, I'm going to say this pallet's complete. And I'm going to exit because I'm done with this palette. So now what happens is there's no pop-up for the users to deal with on printing. It just goes to printing. The only time it's going to pop up is when it goes to a laser printer. Now these prints, because I'm printing on a larger label stock, are going to seem like they're a little not where they're supposed to be, and that's because I left the label stock in there just to show you that printing. Now it's asking me to print the palette marker. So I'm going to select the palette marker. It's already set to my printer. I'm just going to say print, and it's going to send it over to my laser printer. Alright, so there's the palette marker. Done. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I've got 10 sticky labels. And you see my cutter. I'll probably need to work on that at some point, but it's fine for testing. Yeah, I'm not very good at peeling these off. But anyway, you can see it's a nice Nice sticky label that we got there. Stick them on whatever we want. Now what you'll notice here too, this is an Adam's Arms job. I don't think I have one here. I don't, but I'll show you that that barcode thing I was talking about. So if we look here, you'll see that this barcode number is 1951, and you know this is where it ends. So that's 1951. It doesn't have this extra space at the end of it, so it's a smaller barcode because it's equal to that number, not the larger barcode equal to these spaces that shouldn't belong there. So what has happened is, if we look at our smaller set size, if we were on the smaller label, this is the space it would have printed within. So about right there. So there's the end of it. So that's how it would have looked, just more centered up on the smaller stock. So we had the option of going with, you know, a sticky label that is 2 1/4, or a sticky label that's that standard brother size of 2.4, almost 2 1/2. So 2 1/4 to 2 1/2. Both sizes work. I think they look good both ways. You guys will let me know which one really works for you. Alright, and those are the things you need to know about printing out the sticky labels and palletizing. I've already coded it all in, as you saw. When I palletized, it gave me my sticky labels and my pallet marker. That would be the new design. All that's coded in, and I've also coded in for when reprinting Travelers, it's going to reprint these sticky labels, not those larger Travelers. All that's coded in on the Cage level.